Hello Internet. In 1996, when Scream came out, the slasher subgenre got a little bit of a shot to the arm, and quite a few movies came out in its wake. Most people remember the likes of Urban Legend and I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I think a through line through all of these movies in this little blip in the slasher subgenre is that thanks to Scream, they were all fairly wry, and they all had a little wink to the camera. There weren't any real, I don't think, or don't recall, out and out, straight down the line stalk and slash movies. But what I wanted to do is look at a couple of the also rans, the lesser known ones, and see how they've held up. See if time has improved them like a fine wine, or to see whether they stink on ice. I want to do Cherry Falls as well, but first we're going to do Valentine, because it turned up first in the post. It's got Denise Richards in it from ex-Charlie Sheen, and David Boreanaz, who is known to me as Angel from Buffy and Angel, and probably known to the kids today as that one in Bones. But he's in it. I love David Boreanaz. Now I can remember who the killer is, and that's about all I can remember. It came out in 2002. It was at the tail end of this little go round with the slasher cycle. I'm keen to see. I don't remember being overly impressed with it, so I'm hoping that there's, going back over it, there'll be something there to get my teeth into, rather than just be okay. Yeah, I just dropped a few quid on that needlessly. Let's find out. What a strange little movie that doesn't quite pay off. It's very much of its time, late 90s, early 2000s. It looks slick, it looks glossy, it's peopled with impossibly beautiful people, and as a result feels a little shallow. But there's some weird throwbacks to 80s slasher movies that aren't present in the likes of Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, which makes me think that there's something there that didn't quite come out. The start of the movie, the setup, is very reminiscent of the 80s Jamie Lee Curtis movie Terror Train. It starts at a school Valentine dance, and the socially awkward nerdy kid has, well, I want to say a prank pulled on him, but essentially gets humiliated and beaten up, and then we jump forward 13 years, and the people he holds responsible are bumped off one by one, and a lot of it happens at a Valentine's party. So just like Terror Train with the prank pulled on the kid, and the kid goes to an asylum, just like the kid in this, we learn, and then at a party a few years later, the perpetrators get bumped off one by one. And the look of the killer is so strong and so reminiscent of 80s Argento style killers, that every time the killer's on the screen, the killer's not on the screen enough, so visually striking, because it's a very simple image. Long black overcoat, black trousers, black boots, black gloves, but topped off with a full head mask. It almost in some shots looks like a porcelain mask, but it's not. A cherub's face, a cupid face to tie in with the Valentine theme. So in the same way that the Michael Myers mask has a blank expression, but this is a very cherubic face, blonde, short, curly hair, red cheeks, but blank, like almost like a doll's face. and anytime the killer's on the screen, it feels again like an 80s, almost like a giallo movie, like an Italian horror movie. But it's too few and far between, unfortunately. There's some sort of commentary running through the film that I didn't quite understand. Maybe it's me, but young sort of schoolgirls who were at the dance, who took part in this guy's humiliation, are now college kids, and an awful lot of it is about their trials and tribulations on the dating scene and with boyfriends and ex-boyfriends, and every single man in this is a horrific, slimy scumbag. It's so it seems to be wanting to comment on the power dynamic between the genders and the dating scene, commenting on sexism and the like, and just how generally slimy and disgusting men can be, but I didn't really get a strong message. It just seemed to be, oh, and here's another slimy guy, and some of them get killed and some of them don't get killed, and I'm not exactly sure what it was trying to say. And all of those bits are glossy and impossibly beautiful and slightly vapid and with no meat to them, and then our 80s looking killer pops up, and the film comes alive again, and he's not in it enough, and unfortunately he or she, I'm not going to spoil the ending of the movie, just seems to be actually in a lot of scenes just pops up seemingly from nowhere. The geographical space that we're in seems to come in just off camera, seems to be hidden enough from the eyes of the girl that's being chased. Where did they pop up from this time or that time? I believe that the film was quite heavily cut to try and get a lower rating, to try and get more bums on seats, and it possibly suffers from that because it falls between two stools. It's like if MTV did a dating program that got mashed up with an 80s slasher movie, and neither side come off particularly well. I wish there'd been more to it. Whenever the killer does a murder, they get a nosebleed, so out of the nose hole of it's a really nice image. A little trickle of blood runs down the mask from the nose hole. I don't hate it, but it does feel like a wasted opportunity. I'm not surprised it was an also-ran of the late 90s, early 2000s slasher boom. Conversely, therefore, because I think horror movies can make great date movies, so setting one around Valentine's and having the theme of the trials and tribulations of dating, there's a lot of meat there. So rather than remaking excellent films, rather than remaking RoboCops or Texas Chainsaw Massacres or Nightmare on Elm Streets, I really wouldn't have a problem with remaking films that have great ideas but don't swing for the fences or don't hit home runs. I wouldn't mind a return to this movie and these themes, especially with that iconic look of the killer, which just works for me completely. I'd love someone to take another pun alert. I'd like someone to take another stab at this. But it's probably not going to happen because we only get remakes of properties with recognisable
titles with a cachet to them. But this is prime material for a remake. It's not horrible, but it's not amazing. I'd love someone to have another go at it. So there you go. When Cherry Falls drops through the letterbox, we'll see if that's the same, if it was an also ran for a good reason. But I've got a feeling that one was a lot more tongue-in-cheek. But we'll see. I'm glad I watched this again, but it didn't blow me away.